Okay, finally, Unit 10. Alright, you already know what to do, so I'm going to go ahead and play the audio.
Unit 10, Test. Section A, Listening.
Look, Kara. Take a look at these cheap flights on the internet. There's a special discount to Chicago. $65.
Wow. Is that $65 round trip?
Yep, $65 round trip per person. That's amazing. We could visit my brother. I haven't seen him in a very long time.
That's a great idea, but I refuse to stay with him. There are too many people in that house. Are there any discounts on hotel rates?
Let me see. Here's the Hotel Chicago for $99 a night.
That's not too expensive. But don't forget the room tax. That would be about $14 more per night.
Right, but that's not too much.
And there's food. We have to eat. But we don't have to go to expensive restaurants. If we're careful, I guess we'll spend only about $150 on food.
That's about $500 for the weekend. What do you think?
Well, can your sister babysit Cynthia? If she can babysit Cynthia, you and I will fly to Chicago this weekend.
I'll make the reservations after I talk to my sister.
Okay, let's listen to it one more time. Oops.
Unit 10, Test. Section A, Listening.
Look, Kara. Take a look at these cheap flights on the internet. There's a special discount to Chicago. $65.
Wow. Is that $65 round trip?
Yep, $65 round trip per person. That's amazing. We could visit my brother. I haven't seen him in a very long time.
That's a great idea, but I refuse to stay with him. There are too many people in that house. Are there any discounts on hotel rates?
Let me see. Here's the Hotel Chicago for $99 a night.
That's not too expensive. But don't forget the room tax. That would be about $14 more per night.
Right, but that's not too much.
And there's food. We have to eat. But we don't have to go to expensive restaurants. If we're careful, I guess we'll spend only about $150 on food.
That's about $500 for the weekend. What do you think?
Well, can your sister babysit Cynthia? If she can babysit Cynthia, you and I will fly to Chicago this weekend.
I'll make the reservations after I talk to my sister.
Okay, so let me close that. And then, okay, so if you need time to fill out the answers, then you can pause the video, of course, and also practice asking questions for each of these categories, okay? We already talked about how to make questions for cost. You can use what is the cost or how much. So if you need, you can go ahead and pause the video and we will look at it together. Okay, so now let's look at number 1. What are they talking about? Okay, so we can answer. They are talking about a weekend trip. They are talking about a weekend trip. Okay, what is their relationship? What is their relationship? So we can say they are husband and wife. They are husband and wife. Okay, letter C. And then number 3, why do they need a hotel? Okay, and then this one, this is already a complete sentence. So you can just say his brother's house is full. Or you can say they need a hotel because his brother's house is full. Okay, and then number 4, how do they feel? Right, and we can say they feel excited, or they are excited. Okay, and then let's look at the chart now. So I asked you to make questions for each topic as well. So we can ask, how much is the airfare to Chicago? How much is the airfare to Chicago? Or we can say, what is the cost of airfare to Chicago? Okay, so if we answer the question in a complete sentence, we can say, the airfare to Chicago is, or we can say the airfare to Chicago costs $99. So this one, I'm just going to write 99, but you can make, of course, you can practice making sentences. And then number 2, same thing. How much is the hotel or a hotel room per night? Either way, you can say or the. So how much is the hotel room per night? Since they already looked at a specific hotel, and the name is, the hotel is called Hotel Chicago. So we can just use how much is the hotel room per night. So you can say, the hotel room costs, or the hotel room is, oops, you know what? I made a mistake. This is actually 65, and this is 99. Okay, so the airfare to Chicago is $65, and the hotel room per night is $99. Okay, and then how much is the room tax per night? Okay, or what is the cost of the room tax per night? So we can say the room tax is, or the room tax costs $14 per night. And then number 4, how much is food for the weekend? How much is food for the weekend? So we can say food for the weekend costs, or you can also say will cost $150. Okay, and then number 5, how much is babysitting? Or how much will babysitting cost? Okay, we can say babysitting will cost $0, or babysitting will cost nothing. Okay, and then how much is the total cost? Or we can say, what is the total cost? So we can say the total cost is $500. Total cost is $500. So you might also be wondering, why do we use or the for some topics, but no or the for other topics? And it depends on whether it's a specific place or hotel. In this case, as I mentioned, they talked about the Hotel Chicago, or if it is a countable noun, like room is a countable noun. So of course we could say a hotel room, but airfare is not a countable noun. If we say ticket, then it's countable, but airfare isn't. So we can just say how much is airfare to Chicago, or we can say how much is the airfare, since they talked about the specific airfare. And then here too, tax, we don't say a tax. We usually just say how much is tax. So we can say how much is room tax, or actually in this case we should say the room tax, because again it's specific to this hotel room. And then how much is food? Food is a non-countable noun, so we don't say a food. It depends on how you use it, but in this case we can just say how much is food. And then babysitting is an activity, so we don't use we just say how much is babysitting. Okay, so if that's confusing, don't worry too much about it. It's very difficult to master usage of articles like and the, so don't worry too much. Let's go ahead and move on to exercise B, grammar. So complete the sentences. Use the simple present or future form of the verbs. Now, if you remember from Unit 10, we talked about using future real conditionals. So future real conditionals use if clauses, and in the if clause we have to use present tense, and in the main clause we use the future tense. So that's a big hint. You can go ahead and pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so number 1, if my husband gets a few days off, we will go on vacation. Okay, so as I mentioned, the if clause needs to be in present tense. So my husband is third person singular, so we say gets. If my husband gets a few days off, we will go. So will go, because this is the main clause. We will go on vacation. As a reminder, conditionals basically mean that you will do something, or future real conditionals means that you will do something based on a condition, whether or not something else happens. So in this case, the condition is if my husband gets a few days off. And then if that happens, then we will go on vacation. Okay, so let's look at number 2. They will bring their swimsuits if the hotel has a pool. Okay, so remember that you can put the if clause in the beginning like this, or you can put it at the end, just like when clauses, before and after clauses, and also while clauses. So all of those kinds of clauses, you can put them in the beginning or at the end of a sentence. Number 3, if we find discounts, we will save a lot of money. And then number 4, she, and this one is negative, so she won't improve her English if she doesn't practice. Okay. Now, of course, you can say she will not improve, but it's better to practice contractions. Okay, so she won't improve her English if she does not practice, or if she doesn't practice. Okay, number 5. If he looks for discounts, it won't cost too much. It won't cost too much. Okay, now we're going to go to our next grammar activity. Complete the sentences. Use the simple present or future form of the verbs. Okay, so this is very similar to conditionals. Well, mainly when we're talking about the structure of the sentences. So just like if clauses, the before and after clauses need to be in the present tense. And then the main clauses need to be in the future tense. Okay, so same thing, you can pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so let's look at number 1. Before the children arrive, okay, she will cook dinner. So again, these are called future time clauses. She will cook dinner, but she will do it before the children arrive. Okay, so if you remember, also we talked about after and before clauses. So before introduces the second activity, and after introduces the first activity. Okay, so before the children arrive, so this is the second activity. So the first thing is that she will cook dinner. Okay, so first she will cook dinner, and then the children will arrive. So that's another way to say it. And then after the alarm goes off, she will get up. Okay, so after introduces the first activity. So the first event is the alarm will go off, and the second event is she will get up. Okay, and then number 3, we will drive to school before it starts to snow. Okay, so they will drive to school first, and then it will start to snow. So let's keep going. And then our parents will speak with us after they book our trip to New York. Okay, and in this case, book is a verb that means the same thing as schedule. They will, so after they schedule our trip to New York. Okay, and then number 5. Before Sam walks the dog, he will finish doing the dishes. Okay, now for practice, I want you to make questions. So include the before and after clauses in the question, and the main clause, you can consider it as the answer. So the main clause is the answer, and use the before and after clauses in the question. So again, you can pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so for number 1, we can ask, what will she do before the children arrive? What will she do before the children arrive? And of course the short answer is she will cook dinner. And then number 2, what will she do after the alarm goes off? Okay. And then number 3, what will you do before it starts to snow? What will you do before it starts to snow? We will drive to school. Okay, and then number 4, what will your parents do after they book your trip to New York? So in this case, your parents, this is plural because this is our parents. And same thing here. Your is plural because of our. Okay? And then number 5. What will Sam do before he walks the dog? Okay? What will Sam do before he walks the dog? He will finish doing the dishes. Okay, so now let's do our reading exercise. As always, read the article, circle yes or no, and fix the sentences that are incorrect. Okay, so pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so let's look at this article together. King's World. King's World is a large amusement park with rides, shows, restaurants, and gift stores. It is one of the biggest tourist attractions in our state. It is open from May 1st to September 6th, and over 500,000 people visit it every year. King's World has activities for children, teenagers, and adults. If you are a child, you will like the animal shows and the children's rides. If you are a teenager, you will like the fast rides and the dance competitions. If you are an adult, you will enjoy the concerts and the many different restaurants. After you spend a long day at King's World, you will be tired but happy. Every evening ends at 9 p.m. with spectacular fireworks. General admission is $55 for adults and $35 for children under 10 years old. It is expensive to take your family there, but you and your family will have a great time. If you want to save some money, you can bring a picnic lunch. Okay, so let's look at number 1. King's World is open on July 31st. Okay, so we can see here it is open from May 1st to September 6th. So, of course, the answer is yes. Number 2, general admission for a child under 10 is $55. And we can see that information here. So the answer is no. It's $35. You can change it to $35. Or you can change this to adult. You can say general admission for an adult or for adults is $55. Okay? Then number 3, there are animals at King's World. Okay? And you can see here animal shows. So the answer is yes. Number 4, if you are at King's World at 9 p.m., you will see fireworks. Okay, so that is also yes. It says every evening ends at 9 p.m. with spectacular fireworks. Okay, and then number 5, if you don't bring a picnic lunch, you will not be able to eat. Well, the answer is no. Of course you can eat because there are plenty of restaurants. So you can say if you don't bring a picnic lunch, you can eat at the many different restaurants. You can eat at the many different restaurants. Or you might want to say, if you bring a picnic lunch, you will save some money. Okay, so if you bring a picnic lunch, you will save some money. So this one you can change in different ways. Okay, now let's do the writing activity. So write a paragraph about your favorite tourist attraction. Include a main idea, 3 examples of things to do, and a conclusion. Use complex sentences. So if you remember, complex sentences include a dependent clause. So for example, here you can see, if you are a child, you will like the animal shows and the children's rides. So this is also an example of the future conditional sentences we made, but they are also complex sentences. So if you are a child, this is a dependent clause, and the main clause is, you will like the animal shows and the children's rides. These are called complex sentences if they include a dependent clause and, of course, a main clause or independent clause. So that makes your writing more interesting and a little more advanced. Okay, so you can do that on your own time. But this is the end of our lesson and the end of our book. So great job, as I mentioned earlier. Again, we will finish the semester by taking a test. Okay, so study hard. Look forward to that. It should be pretty easy, though. Hopefully I will see you in person soon. Okay, bye-bye.